For the first time, I can say I have my own 2-bedroom apartment with my dog on the beach. The last 2 months, I've made 80,000, 85,000, and I've made like about 225,000 so far with this one product. I'm single, no kids. I have the cutest little baby doggy.
Well, I'm sure now you can become a sugar mama. Victoria, I hear that you have had an amazing month. Victoria has been part of Rise Academy, which is our program where we teach people online. It's a 6-week video training program that teaches people how to make money online and hopefully how to find, become financially independent. That's all of our goals, right? So Victoria is somebody who I would say falls in that category. In fact, just to kick this off with a little bit of a bang, actually, you know what? I'll let Victoria tell her story about exactly where she's at right now. But I will say that the average doctor in America makes about the same amount that you made just in the last month, roughly, give or take. I don't know, if you think about it from that perspective, that's a bit of a, I don't know, a little boost to the ego, I'm sure, if nothing else. But so can you tell me a little bit about, I don't know, like, how are you feeling right now? Like, what's going through your mind when you sit back and think about that?
A lot of things go through my mind. Well, I'll start with the statistic that you just shared, because I was never really a good student ever.
Me too.
Barely got into college, barely graduated, but it was a personal goal of mine to finish. And so, like, I couldn't even pass a science class to become a physical education teacher, which is kind of what I wanted to do because I sucked at science. But anyway, so to say that, to like put in perspective, like I ended up making the money I wanted to anyways, but doing it differently is like, okay, cool, that's cool. So that is just totally validating that maybe I didn't have everything that I thought that I needed to have what I want, but I did it anyways. But I feel all kinds of emotions still because it's relatively new experience for me. Like the last 2 months, I've made 80,000, 85,000. Just the words, the numbers are like crazy for the last couple months before this, and I've made like about a quarter, almost like, well, 225,000 so far with this one product, for example, and that just blows my mind. I mean, I've paid off friends that have lent me money in the past. I've paid off back taxes from a bad business deal I got into. I've paid down, like, student loans. I paid back. It's just crazy. Like, I'm just in a different place where even right now I can come up and just visit my family on a whim because my cousin's having a baby tomorrow, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna come and hang out. Like, I'm not stuck anywhere, so it's like really cool. So I feel gratitude. I feel
free.
Yeah, and I feel I don't even know what the word is, like in awe. I guess I feel awe, like that this is actually my life now,
like,
and
in disbelief, maybe a little bit.
And I feel I don't like to use certain words because I want to stay on the positive, keep the flow going, because I have a personal belief system and a personal operating system that I work with and language that I use to make sure that I continue manifesting everything that I want. So it's amazing. I feel amazing.
Let me ask you about that. Do you feel like you have created this life for yourself? You use the word manifesting. I use that word as well sometimes. Do you feel like you have created an intention for yourself, and that this experience that you're experiencing now is part of that manifestation or part of that intention that you had?
I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted to make a certain amount of money online. I knew that I wanted this lifestyle. I knew all of that. And I didn't know that this was going to be the vessel or the tool or the
exact path.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that this was going to be the way that I got there, but I got here with this program. I'm just amazingly grateful, like overwhelmingly grateful for this showing up for me to make it happen. So
It's amazing. I mean, I'm really impressed. Like, how long were you actually, I mean, studying Rise Academy before you actually had your big financial breakthrough where you realized, like, wow, I'm doing it. Like, this is a big deal. Like, whoa, what's going on here? Wow.
I think I joined last year in June or July-ish, and then I was kind of fumbling along for a few months where I had spent like $3,000 and made $1,000. So I think my strength was the images because I'm also an artist, musician. Those are things I'm good at. The ad copy was kind of my weak spot. So when I joined the Mentor Me program, it was probably, I want to say like it's so long ago now, like 2-3 weeks into the Mentor Me program that I had a breakthrough where I was hanging out with my friend and I just put up another ad. And I had like 700% ROI on a Saturday. So
Wow.
so I guess when I started, it was like June, July. And then October 22nd, I remember was the day that I made a lot more money than I thought was possible with doing nothing besides checking my stats and going, okay. And then after that, I had some ups and downs. Like,
For one second there, Victoria, you said you spent roughly $400 or $500 in one day and did like a 700% ROI. Was that your first big breakthrough day?
October 22nd, I spent $60 and I made $400-500. I think when I did the math, I'm not sure the exact number, but I remember doing the math that it turned out to be 700% ROI.
Nice. And that's when you became. That's when you went online. You woke up and you were like, whoa, like this is for real, right? You're like, now if I can just scale this a little bit, it's like I'm in the game, and now here you are. Awesome. So do you have any family? Do you live alone? Do you have family, or have any kids, married, family members?
No, I'm single, no kids. I have the cutest little baby doggy.
Do you?
He's running around with my cousin's dogs, but
Where do you live? Like what? You're in America,
Long
right?
Beach, which is the southern tip of LA County. And I've been down here for about 14 years. Well, actually, right now I'm in Sacramento visiting family, but I've been living in Long Beach for about 14 years. I've struggled. I've had other businesses. I kind of like went around in circles doing other things, and always been kind of on the fence about like financially, like either just surviving or trying to get into a better situation. But for the first time, I can say I have my own 2-bedroom apartment with my dog on the beach. And so I have
awesome.
My second bedroom is my office, and I have like cool new speakers and a big old monitor, and it's not like my Rise, like my office. So, and it's so, I mean, I have everything. I built the life that I've always wanted, basically. I mean, there's other things that I want in life, like a relationship and kids and everything. But right now, I have a pretty darn good life for myself and my dog, and I live in this amazing, beautiful home by the beach, and I'm happy with that.
Well, I'm sure now you can become a sugar mama if you want. Yeah, big ambition.
Look how much money I make right now.
Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Okay, so so I'm just curious, like, so what kind of background did you have? I mean, is this? I mean, are you coming from a family background where, making, 6 figures a month is something that's something that other people around you are doing as you grow up, or are you from a more modest upbringing, or?
Oh man, so much more modest than that. I grew up with my mom, my brother, me, and my 2 grandparents on my mother's side. So 5 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. We had like living on Social Security. My mom was a daycare teacher, so we had literally like no. We were negative all the time. My grandma and I would like walk down the streets of Oakland. We would whittle sticks to get like pick up cans like all the way to a recycling center to gather money to buy food for the family, and that's what we did on Saturdays. So very modest background. My grandparents never went past second or third grade. My mom didn't go to college, maybe a couple classes. Neither did my brother. Nobody except for me actually broke through that barrier. But even though I broke through that, I didn't have anyone to look up to as like an example for more or whatever. So it was always kind of like a struggle to imagine what was possible beyond that, because I didn't, like, all of my friends around me and the people around me was like, oh, that's for everybody else, like that's what's happening for them, like all the good stuff was somewhere out there. And I mean, I went through some serious personal introspection, reflection, breakthroughs to actually allow this to happen, because it was hard to, when it started happening, when I started making all that money, I was like, wow, this is awkward, it's uncomfortable.
Did you get a reaction from your family and from your friends over it? Did you share your I don't know, your breakthrough and your success with your friends and family? You bring them in and let them know what you're experiencing?
Not really, because they always resented wealthy people.
Oh yeah.
The times in my past when I had reached further levels of success or higher levels of success than they had ever seen or witnessed or personally experienced, things got really weird. They resented me. They called me names. And so I realized that just wasn't okay. So I would always sabotage myself to bring myself back down so that I could be accepted and loved and okay with them. And I finally realized, well, I gotta do this anyway. So I'm making all this money, but I can't share it with them. Like, I can't tell them how much money I'm making. I just have to, like,
So I understand, like what it's like to come from a poor family and to have like this fear of succeeding. Like we all want to succeed in life. We all want to be financially successful, and some people more than others, I suppose. But for me, I remember hitting that moment where I was like, "Whoa, this is really going to happen." It's like I'm going to be a fucking millionaire. Like, is this really? And I was scared to death of that. In that moment, I realized that, wait a second, like that was very, very difficult for me to swallow that for some reason. I had like a real fear. It was like late at night setting up. And so I understand what you're saying, when you say that you're worried that your friends and family around you won't accept you or they'll look at you different, so you sabotage yourself and keep yourself in this place that you're comfortable with in life. But now it appears that you have embraced change and you've worked through that, and now here you are, in a different place in life. Has your friends and family come around and supported you, or were all your fears actually were they real?
I think there's some people that well, I think the most important people are still there. And actually, the most challenging relationship was actually with my mom, because when I was growing up, because we were really poor, there would be people that would step in and like buy me stuff. Like, oh, she needs some new clothes, or she needs shoes, or, oh, here's some food, and offer us stuff, and she rejected it. And so, and then there were times in my life where I had money and she called me names as a result of that. And then when I was going through this process with Rise Academy, I was making money, and then I sabotaged myself making money. So it was like a big, huge roller coaster. And I was like, why is this happening this way? Like, why can't I just let it happen? And I had a revelation, and because everyone else aside kind of worked themselves out, like my friends. Like, I don't talk about the actual dollar amount because it's actually hard to believe. When I was like, oh, I've been making $500 a day, and they're like, and you didn't do nothing. And I was like, well, I actually worked my ass off to get here, but whatever. Okay. So I stopped talking about the dollar amount, and I just kept living my life, and that kind of worked itself out. But me personally, the thing that I had to actually address was the relationship with my mom. And I called her one day. I was super emotional, and I just said, hey, because she's always wanted a relationship with me, but because she was always like calling me names, and it was all strained and it was weird, it just never worked out. And I said, I got to tell you something. I said, all those times when you rejected all the good things that were happening to me, I got a message as a little girl that it wasn't okay to be happy. It wasn't okay to have good things. And I just need to tell you, whether you agree with it or not, I believe that I deserve this. you can think what you want, but this is happening, and I can't explain anything else past that. You can, and you don't need to understand it even, but this is what's happening. I want a good life. I deserve it, and I know I deserve it. Da da da. And it was kind of an intense conversation, but it was me more saying, like, standing up to the one person that was the one person that I was like so angry at for taking all the good stuff away from me, and the one person that I needed the most to believe in me that never did. And I just said what I had to say, and I said, and it's okay if you don't agree, but when I had that conversation, let it all out, then kind of changed. She's like, wow, I didn't know I did that. I didn't know I was communicating that way. I am sorry that you felt that way. I'm sorry I hurt you. And so it was weird. It was like I had to stand up for myself emotionally to allow the physical manifestation of what I believe that I deserve, the good life, all the money, the stuff, all that stuff. But it was really, I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it definitely does. I like how the fact that you used the term to, that you had to go through all of this in order to allow yourself to succeed, just to let it happen. That's what you said, to let it happen. And it's funny to think, that a lot of the people out there that might be watching this, who probably really, really understand and feel what you're talking about here, because I think most people feel the same way. It's like when is it going to happen for me? I want this. I really want it. Like law of attraction and all this stuff. Like I want to manifest this into my life. I want to create this for myself. What is preventing me? But use the word that you just needed to allow it to happen. That you were preventing it yourself even. And I find that to be interesting. I think it was true for me at one point. I think it's true for so many people. You just need to get out of your own way. You also mentioned that, that now you it's like you feel that you deserve it. You feel that you deserve this life that you're having right now. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like what caused you to have that breakthrough where you feel like suddenly like you actually do deserve this life that you're experiencing right now?
Well, I think that I always thought that I wanted it and deserved it. But like I said, there's a lot of past experiences that were contributing to the opposing belief system or paradigm. And it was actually, I remember actually, it was the very beginning of February. I had already been in the program, the mentoring program. I'd had some ups and downs. I made some money, and I hadn't been running ads for like a couple weeks. And I was sitting there, I guess it was like, I was sitting in this beautiful apartment that I had been like visualizing and manifesting, and the thing that was motivating me to make more money, to do this and to that. And I realized that I was sitting I had the laptop, actually. I was like doing some like ads or whatever on my living room table, and I could see my kitchen. I could see out. It was beautiful summer. Like we have really nice summer. Like it's beautiful all around. But so I was looking up, I could see over here, and I could see my beautiful living room and everything that I worked so hard for in my apartment, and my dog. It was so cute. And I was like, wow, like I want this to stay. I don't want this to go away. I don't want to sabotage it. What can I do to let it stay here? How can I like let it happen, let it stay? And it was that moment. It was beginning of February. I don't remember exactly what day, but I was like, I need to do whatever I need. I need to do whatever, say whatever, have whatever conversation with whomever, or like do some tapping meditation, whatever. Like it was like, I want all this beauty in my life and this goodness in my life, and I deserve it, and I want it to stay, and I don't want to struggle anymore. I had always been struggling or fighting, or like anytime something had come up to a certain level of success, I killed it. And it was just a decision that I was like, I do deserve it, and I deserve to enjoy it, because if I continue to struggle, if I'm depressed, if I'm unhappy, if this goes away and I have to get another job, then I won't have the life that I want. So it's like, I just need to have this keep going. This has to keep going. I want to enjoy this. So I have to make more money so I can let go of my old businesses. I have to keep going and be confident that I deserve it, so that if anyone questions me, I can say, I love and respect you, but this is what I'm doing, and be on your way, goodbye. And like let go. Does that make this?
It does. I mean, would you say that right now you are? I always believe that when you're in the zone, like when you're on fire, when you're really on fire, that you need to like milk it for everything that it's worth. Do you feel that you're on fire right now? Yes. You're on fire. Do you realize how important it is for you to stay on fire when you're on fire?
Yes. Yes.
And do you sort of have a, what's that?
I have a visualization that I do sometimes when I'm feel like I'm teetering and falling out of the zone. Um, I raise my hands like kind of instinctually, because my visualization is like when I feel like goodness is coming in and I want to keep it going, I put up my arms sometimes just to like a funnel. You know, like those funnels when you're like trying to get something into a little, like pour the filter water into the water bottle.
Mhm.
So sometimes I'll just like lift up my arms and go, let it come. And that's just like my personal thing that I do. Like if my ads are down, and I'm like, I can turn this around because I've done it before. I know I can do this. And it's just a matter of my mindset and letting it happen. And there's something going on inside of me that's blocking it, and I need to let go of that block. I'll just go like, and then I put my arms up and I pretend like I'm a funnel, and then the infinite goodness and wealth and coming into me. And I just like take a few breaths, and then I check my account and there's more money.
Sounds
cool.
a bit like magic. I mean, but you know, on that note, I mean, how responsible are you for
your success? I mean, you know, you mentioned that you worked really hard to get here. Like, I mean, how much of it is the universe giving you what it is that you're asking for, and how much of it is you just being committed and just doing the work and, you know, staying focused and just, you know, really just believing in yourself and not giving up?
I do believe it's 100% my responsibility. So when things aren't going my way or falling short of my expectations or what I've set as my intention, I check in with myself. Well, how focused I am, what's my mindset right now, what old beliefs are creeping in again, is there anything that's throwing me off course, have I been spending enough time on gratitude and meditation and manifesting what I want, or have I just been like, you know, flighty and forgetting about what I want to create? And it's 100% me, and it's just for me, I believe it has personally been my own training, and I just happen to find a really great way to get the money to come in, but the system is there. But the thing that I've seen that's different, whether I'm making a lot of money or not a lot of money, is where my mindset is, or like where my intention is, where my heart is, what I'm doing, like how exact and committed I am to tracking my numbers to make good decisions. Like that doesn't happen by accident, you know?
So somebody ask you this. If, you know, because right now a lot of other students, you know, I mean, there's a percentage of our students who are just really, you know, succeeding big time. They're, being a mentor yourself now, I mean, I'm sure you've been witness to many of those people who've come from nowhere and they've elevated themselves and become, you know, get on the leaderboard of some of the top products out there, weight loss offers and things. And you've done that as well. But if you could speak right now to somebody else who's where you were back when you were first getting started and you had difficulties believing that anything was going to happen for yourself, I mean, if you could give some advice to someone from back then, like who's going through the same struggles that you went through, what would you say is the number one or first, I don't know, one or two different things, maybe just a little pieces of advice that you could give somebody to overcome and to get where you are now? Are there any secrets?
I would say mindset is probably the number one thing, because I've gone through this now myself, and in my process my performance, I believe, is directly related to my mindset, where I'm at. And then the students that I've mentored, the ones that are open and receptive and trust me and listen and do the work and are eager, all encompassed, I guess, that, that's the mindset word that we use. Those are the ones that succeed, the ones that resist, that question, that complain, that doubt, that just resist in whatever form that is for them, are the ones that just struggle, and they either take way too long to get there or just never get there. And sometimes, as a mentor, I can sense that, like, okay, they're struggling, they're resisting. I'm going to let them fuss around a little bit. And then when they're ready, I'm going to pull them over that bridge. And when I'm able to pull them over the bridge and then they are receptive and open, is when they have the breakthrough. So I think the number one pivoting factor is their mindset, because if they're not open, they're not going to do it.
So when you say mindset and not being not open, you're saying that, is it believing in themselves or believing that they can do it as being open? Is that what you mean? So you're kind of coaching them through and bringing them through and watching, engaging, and seeing them, like, resist or have these resistances to believing in themselves, and then you wait for it, and then you watch for it, and then when you see them like on the brink of it, you bring them across the bridge, and now they believe in themselves, and now it happens for them. Is that what you're saying? Is that what I'm?
And also, and there's a caveat, or maybe not caveat, but there's also like a more specific category of disbelief, is when people are like asking, well, I don't know if the system works, or I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know, like, if this works for everybody, or what if, I don't know. When they're questioning the system, that's also a limiting factor. They may be very confident in their ability, like, I'm really technical and I'm smart and I can do all the Quizlander and that's all great. But if they have a disbelief in the system, that's also a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I focus on getting them to their first sale, because when they see they can get their first sale and their first $100 day, 100% ROI and all these milestones, that's when they start, or like, oh, okay, I get it, because then they prove it to themselves instead of me just telling them. But if someone already believes in the system but they don't believe themselves, then I focus on them. But whether it's the system or themselves that they're doubting, it's doubt that is the deal breaker, and when they believe, that's the breakthrough.
Very cool. So what do you see from here? Where are you going? What's next for you? You gonna ramp it up, take it to the next level, and join the millionaire club soon, I hope?
Yes.
A $3,000 day, $2,700 day.
I kind of want to bring up my like stats, because I hit, I remember when I went through the original training, and there was like the talk, when it was like you and Gerry, you and Rob on the original Q&As, and you guys were like, $5,000 a day. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, I'll be happy with like $100 a day, because then I could like replace my income. But
I love it when new students say that. I'd be happy with $100 a day. I love that. I love that, because I look at people like that, and I'm like, I can tell that they. I mean, first of all, they're realists, which I like. They keep things. They don't. It's not difficult to get them happy, make them happy. But I can also tell that they just don't really. They're not quite there. They don't really believe it's even possible. They don't want to fool themselves. They don't want to get caught up into this dream that's not reality. And to fall for a lie. They don't want to believe, somebody's telling them a lie and they're buying into it, so they're like, screw that. But if you could just help me make $100 a day, I would still be happy. So it's like they're trying to talk themselves into it,
Well, yeah, when I hear people say something like that, I'm like, okay, this is awesome, because they obviously believe in the program, and or not obviously, but I feel like to a certain extent they believe in the program, but yeah, I believe in the program, but I don't know if I can make $5,000 a day. but I believe in myself enough that I could reach this level. So like you said, kind of a realist perspective
Yeah.
thing. And I think I was there too.
Mm-hmm.
When I made $100 a day my first time, I was like, holy crap, this just happened. And then like $500, holy crap, this just happened. My first $1,000 day was like, whoa, okay, this is like.
What was that again? Your what?
My first $1,000 a day.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, whoa, I could keep going and going and going. And 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. When I remember it was on a Friday, and I Skyped Sean because I said, Sean, I think I'm going to hit that $5,000 a day mark. And he's like, oh, where are you? And it was like, he's in Irvine. He's in the same time zone as me. So like, I'm all, well, software projects, they cut off at 10 p.m., but technically Pacific Coast time, still have 2 hours. I was like obsessing over the hours, and I technically in that day, I think I made $5,000, but on software projects, it showed up as $4,966 on that Friday.
Loser.
I know.
You loser, man.
But the next day, I said, Sean, I did it, and I did a snapshot, $5,677 tomorrow.
Damn.
I did it. I did the $5,000 a day. I was like, wow. So, and then, but the interesting thing is, and I tell my students this when they have a sale and they don't have a sale, I go, first time I hit $5,000 a day, I went through the same emotions and thoughts that I had when I hit my first 100, like, oh, can I hold on to this? Can I keep doing it? Is this okay to be this successful? Like, because then I was starting to play mind games with myself, like $5,000 a day times 30 is 150. That's crazy. No. So then I actually, right after that pinnacle, I went, and I had to build myself back up because it was another mind game.
Yeah, it's a matter of staying in that zone,
Same emotions, same thought process, all the same stuff that happened like way, way, way back. It's just a different number. And you just have to train yourself, or I trained myself to like, just a number, make good decisions, stay in the zone, let it come in, funnel in the abundance.
It's stop thinking about it and just start expecting it, and like it's nothing but another day. And then that's when you're kind of there. Eventually, just between you and I, it's like when you're really, really there, you'll stop even thinking about it, and you'll just expect that that's the way life is. You do deserve it. There is no question. You don't have to talk to mom to convince anybody else that you deserve it. You just know it, and it's going to happen. And it doesn't matter if it happened today or tomorrow or whatever, it's still happening. It's never going to go away. You get that confidence in yourself, and then it just is, it just is. So it's like, I can see you on your way there. I mean, you're well on your way there. Everybody that's watching this video, they're looking up to you right now. They're looking up to you big time. I guess, young people and there's people of all ages in this program. You've had the pleasure, I'm sure, of dealing with so many of them as a mentor yourself. Most people really don't believe in themselves. As the beauty of being a mentor is that you're in this unique situation where you have the honor of helping someone go from that place where they don't believe in themselves to where you believe in them enough that you can help them bridge that gap and start believing in themselves and have that breakthrough just because of that alone. I mean, first of all, 2 questions for you before we wrap this up. Number 1, how important is it to have a mentor, someone that can lead you down that path? Is it important? How important is it?
I would say it's really important, especially in this industry, being online, because you're working from home and you're alone when you're doing the work. So if you didn't have a mentor, you didn't have a program, you didn't have live Q&As, you didn't have any of the support, it's really lonely and scary and confusing and overwhelming. And I think the live Q&As are great, but having the access to a mentor was like, oh my God, I can talk to someone. Someone's there for me. It's like your lifeline. It feels like a lifeline. That's what it felt like for me. And I feel that coming from my students too, when they're the first time we have our conversation, they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I'm like, no. The pleasure is all mine because I get to bring you over. So, for me personally, I feel like maybe it's because I'm a very social person. I'm like, I need connection. I need a group. I need to talk to people, blah, 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 blah. Like, but just like, I mean, I just couldn't imagine doing it without a mentor. And I don't, and the things that I see of my students and all the questions they have and all the concerns and doubts are almost immediately overcome and addressed and rectified and cured, whatever you want to call it, when we have our first call, because they just feel like supported. So I think the number one thing and number one value of having a mentor is that support, that confidence, like, I don't know if I can do this. And they're floating around and then suddenly they're like, okay, I can do this. Because they're not floating around. They're anchored in with support. And I feel really grateful and honored to be that for them. I get to be their anchor. I get to be their confidence. And that's an amazing feeling, especially already having gone through it. It's like, I know you can do this.
So, I mean, you know that people, you know, it's not just talking to someone, right? I mean, they need a support system, but they also, it's like if the most important thing to someone is that they believe in themselves, it helps a lot, wouldn't you say, to speak to somebody who's already done it, who's somebody who's already gone before you and achieved what it is that you're set out to achieve, right? So you are that person to people right now. I mean, you are, I mean, I remember when you first came into the mentor program. I remember when you first came in, and I remember, you know, the doubts and things that you had. I remember the ambition that you had, how excited you were, and I could see it. And I've seen the transition that you've made over all this time. And I'm not even sure that you quite realize right now, even sitting in your own body right now on this interview, if you even realize that you have become that person that you used to aspire to be. I mean, that the people that who are back in, you know, in that position, that are wanting to change their life, they're looking at you and thinking like, man, I want to be her, Victoria. Your name is on their mind, just like Bonnie used to be on your mind, you know, just like Gerry or whatever, you know. It's like there's these people that have done it, and you're like, I want to do that, you know. Like I don't know if I could do it, but here you are, you know. I mean, how does it feel to be in this situation where, you know, I mean, after we release this video, there's going to be countless students, thousands and thousands of students are going to be looking at you, remembering your name, telling their wife or telling their husband or their spouse or their kids about your story because of how inspirational it is to them. I mean, how does it feel to, I mean, have you realized that even?
I'm getting a little emotional because you just kind of put it in perspective, and I haven't thought about it in a while. And it feels amazing. I feel honored. I feel overwhelmed. I feel a little, well, I want to say disbelief, but I don't like to use the
Look at your bank account. You have to believe the numbers. It's real, baby. It's real.
Real. I mean, it was weird. I was like, you know, when Rob had asked me to come out to talk at that event and just show like a real person, like we just need a body, like a real person to prove that this works. And they're like, how much did you make last month? And how much did I was like, wow. And I got really like.
So to put this, so just to clear this up for people, so you came to LA with Rob, and with Mike Long, right? And you got on stage and you spoke about your experience live. This was at an event with Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher, who are two of the most well-known internet marketers in the world. They draw thousands and thousands of people to their events, and you're standing on stage telling your story, and you're still in disbelief, right? Is that accurate?
Because then, like, Mike Long had called me up. He's like, I'm going to introduce a good friend of mine. He has this program. But first, I'd like to introduce one of his students who made last month how much? And he pointed to me, and I go, $80,000? 80,000? And then, oh my God, I just said that out loud. And people were like clapping, like I was special. And like, it was weird. And then they were like asking questions after, and people were coming up and like, can I get your number? And they were like, and then Rob and I had gone down after the seminar, after giving 2 speeches and using me as an example, which I was happy to do to represent like what's actually possible with the program. We go down to the hotel lobby, we're like mingling, and people are talking and having drinks and stuff. And I go, Rob, I'm not really clear on my value here. And he goes, are you freaking kidding me? And I go, well, all these people are like famous, everybody knows them. He goes, no, people are talking about you right now. In that conversation over there is a Facebook lady. And I'm all, oh. He goes, your value is being an inspiration. And I was like, wow, I've always wanted to be inspirational. It was just funny because like, I guess he said people are paying money to be at this conference to buy programs to get where you are. You just happen to already be there. And I didn't know I was already there. And then I saw that I was there. I was all of a sudden I was like, wait, who is that guy I was just talking? He's like, oh, that's the head of Amazon. And that's the guy who made his first million and these are our friends now.
And you're in that circle. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And I couldn't even tell my friends about it because they're like, who?
Yeah.
It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's that I'm just doing what I want to do, and that I'm really grateful for what I've found with you guys. So,
right. Well, I really appreciate the interview. I know that this is going to be a huge inspiration to a lot of people.
And I think that if you had anything to pay back or to give back, to pay forward to anybody else, I think being on this interview today plays a big role in it. Also, anybody who's watching this, Victoria is she's a mentor right now within the Mentor Me program of Rise Academy. If you would like to work with her, I'm sure that she would be happy to help you bridge that gap from where you are now to where you would like to be, so that maybe you can be sitting on the other end of this camera in the future telling your success story to all of our thousands of students. So thank you so much, Victoria, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to be a part of your ride. I'm excited to continue to be part of your ride going forward. I hope you'll be able to join the Millionaire Club sometime soon. Thank you so much. Very soon. You're on your way if you're not already there. Awesome. Thanks so much. Anything else? You good?
Thank you, Gerry and Rob. I love you like a brother, like brothers. Like, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate that too. Thank you.